Welcome back to another video, and today we got our Week 17 NFL game predictions where we're going to be looking at the standings from last week where me and my friends who pick every game, have picked every game this year, are looking at right now. And then we're going to go through all 16 games and pick who we think is going to win. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. I apologize for the schedule changes this week. It is Christmas time, so I apologize for not getting the normal, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing going. But so we're kind of all over the place. Usually it's college basketball every Monday, college football every Tuesday, NFL every Wednesday, and NBA every Thursday. But this week it did have to change around a little bit. Real quick, looking at the standings, I'm still in first. I've won all 3 years we've done this. I'm looking for the four-peat this year. I got a 6-game lead. Last week it was 5 over second place, so I'm hoping to continue to expand. Second place has got a 5-game lead over third. That third and fourth place race still neck and neck. And then, the rest of the group is kind of struggling here, but it's all for fun. It's not the end of the world, but yes, hopefully I can four-peat. Real quick, we'll go through the Christmas games. These have already been played. I picked the Chiefs. Pretty clear to me. I thought maybe with Mahomes' ankle injury, and the fact that they've played 3 games in 11 days, maybe they could lose. But I still did end up going with the Chiefs. It's so hard not to pick them. They blew them out 29-10. And speaking of blowouts, I went ahead and took the Ravens here, along with the majority of the guys. Yeah. The Ravens went 31-2. I mean, just a crazy score. This one was more of a blowout than the first one. I thought, one of these games had to be good. Neither of them were. The Ravens win, dominating fashion. The Ravens look like a threat, man. The Ravens look like a scary team. They are playing great football right now. Moving on over to the Thursday night games. So now we're looking at the games that have not been played. The Seahawks go to Chicago to take on the Bears. At this point in the season with the Bears, they've kind of thrown in the towel. I think we're at one point in the season we were 4-2. Now we are 4-11, 9-game losing streak. Wouldn't be surprised if we finish the season on an 11-game losing streak. It's very rough. I will say it looks like we got the guy though. Caleb Williams has been great. Just bad coaching, bad all around, pretty much everything else. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Seahawks. The over/under is very low. It's only like 41.5. It's gonna be kind of a boring game for Thursday night, but I do expect the Seahawks to win. They're still playing for something. They're only a game behind the Rams right now. With 2 games left in the season, they can still win that division. So, with all that being said, I think the Seahawks should be the pretty easy pick here. We got a couple Saturday games this week. The Chargers versus Patriots, kind of a whatsoever game. I'll take the Chargers. The Patriots are just trying to lose at this point. They're trying to get a high draft pick. The Chargers actually trying to get a better playoff seed. So I'll take the Chargers here pretty easily. Another pretty low over/under, but I think the Chargers should have it. They have a really good defense. Broncos versus Bengals. This is a huge one in terms of playoff seeding because the Bengals need to win out and the Broncos need to lose out in order for the Bengals to get in. They're still alive for the playoffs, but they are 2 games back. So this is a must-win game for the Bengals. And in Cincinnati, I actually like their chances. They're favored by 3.5. Kind of surprising. I think this one's kind of a 50-50 game. I mean, I don't know. It definitely could go either way. But I think the Bengals are just trying to sneak in the playoffs. And if you're one of those high seeds in the AFC, the Bengals are definitely a team you want to avoid just because of how good that offense is. One of the best in the league. They got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. But I do think they can win over the Broncos. This is kind of just the Broncos one of the best defenses. The Bengals one of the best offenses. I think you could argue the Broncos' offense is better than the Bengals' defense. But I don't know. I like the Bengals at home. I think this is a must-win game. I think they get it done. An NFC West matchup. This would be interesting if the Cardinals didn't lay an egg last week against against the Panthers. That loss eliminated them from the playoffs. So now they're not really playing for anything. I guess just pride, really. They can knock off their division rival. But in SoFi, I'll take the Rams. They're favored by 6.5. I think that one's pretty easy. The Rams are trying to lock up that division title, and I believe lock up no, it wouldn't be the 4 seed. It might be the 3 seed. So yeah, the Rams just playing for more right now at home. I think they get a win here. Moving into the Sunday games, this is another one just kind of meaningless game. The Bills versus Jets. I mean, it would be meaningful if the Jets did end up winning, but in Buffalo, they're favored by 9.5. I think the Bills get it done, even though they can't get the 1 seed anymore. I do think that they get the win regardless. I mean, it's the Jets. This is an interesting one. The Raiders versus Saints. Not really interesting in terms of playoffs, but I mean, a 3-12 team versus a 5-10 team. I feel like there's not very many good games this week. It's a lot of good teams playing bad teams. Bad teams playing bad teams. There's a couple near the end of the slate, but not much. Not much to be excited about here. What is this? Desmond Ridder versus Spencer Rattler. I mean, I don't know how these two are starting in the NFL. I'll take the Raiders. The Raiders won last week, I believe, against, was it the Jaguars? Yeah, they beat the Jaguars last week. The Raiders have at least been somewhat competitive in recent games. The Saints are just so injured. They're without Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill, Derek Carr. Might be without Kamara. I mean, they don't know if he's going to play. I don't think he will. I'll take the Raiders here, though. They've been at least somewhat serviceable. The Saints have just been a dumpster fire with all the injuries they've had in the recent weeks. Colts versus Giants. The Colts are still trying to get in the playoffs. They are still technically alive. The Giants hold the number 1 seed, so I think this would be in the best interest for both teams if the Colts go out there and get the win. I think they do. They're favored by 7.5. Colts have kind of had a sneaky season. They're 7-8. I feel like people aren't talking about them very much. They're not, terrible whatsoever. 7-8. You feel like people would be talking about them more because they're not, bottom of the barrel. And I haven't really heard much about the Colts. They've kind of just been flying under the radar. I think they beat the Giants, though. I mean, the Giants just can't move the ball. They can't do anything there offensively. I mean, defensively, it's not really great either. I mean, at least they got some guys there. But they do have Malik Neighbors, but, I mean, he's only so useful when the quarterback can't even get him the ball. So I'm going to take the Colts. They get a win in a must-win game. NFC East matchup, Cowboys versus Eagles. The Cowboys have officially been eliminated from the playoffs. I believe there's still a chance the Eagles can get the 1 seed in the NFC. So with that being said, in Philly, I like the Eagles' chances here. They're 12-3. They're coming off a loss against Washington. I think they get a much-needed bounce-back win here over their division rivals in the Cowboys. I mean, Cooper Rush is just not doing it for me. He has been winning some games. They did beat the Buccaneers last week in a game that I thought the Bucs needed to win. So that's definitely something. But I think the Eagles get a bounce back win here. Speaking of the Buccaneers, they play the Panthers at home this week. The Panthers did spoil the Cardinals' playoff hopes last week. I could actually see the Panthers winning this game, surprisingly. I think Bryce Young's had a great, turnaround here halfway through the season. He's been playing really good recently. The Panthers just always seem to be in a close game. I actually really could see a world where the Panthers actually go out and win this game outright. But in Tampa at home, the Buccaneers are still trying to win that division. I think they're tied with the Falcons right now. I'm not sure who has the tiebreaker. I think the Buccaneers get a win. I think they need it. They're 7.5-point favorites. I feel like that should be lower. But I think the Buccaneers win. Although I think the Panthers could make some chaos here. I wouldn't be surprised if they win that game. I am going to take the Bucs though at home. A meaningless AFC South game. 2 3-12 teams. I mean, both these teams are probably going to want to lose this game. I'll take the home team. I mean, it's Mac Jones versus Mason Rudolph. The Titans are actually favored by 1. This, I believe, is the lowest. No, it's the second lowest over-under of the week. The lowest is Raiders-Saints. Like I said, there's just a lot of these terrible games this week. Yeah, I'll take Jacksonville at home, but I mean this game just is as meaningless as they come. The Dolphins versus Browns. The Browns at 3-12. At this point, they're hoping to lose. They want to get a quarterback. At least I'm assuming. I mean, Jameis Winston, DTR, just I don't think that's doing it for them. The Dolphins are still alive for the playoffs, so if they win out, there's a chance they can get in. I think the Dolphins going to Cleveland get a win. It will be in the cold, but even then, I mean, the Browns just can't score. The over/under is only 39.5, and I could see the Dolphins just blowing them out, even with it being in the cold. I don't know. The Browns just aren't doing it for me. They just look terrible. I'm gonna take the Dolphins there. Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Achane. I think the offense can get things going. The Browns defense is solid. Maybe they it's a low scoring game. Just because of the weather. The Dolphins will play well in the cold. I could see like a 20-10 game even, but I think the Dolphins will end up winning this one. This is one of the important games. There's really only two this week, this game and the next game. So this game is going to be an afternoon game on Sunday. The Packers versus the Vikings, two heavyweights of the NFC, 11-4 versus 13-2. The Vikings get it at home. I believe the Vikings won the first time around. The Vikings still alive for the 1 seed in the NFC as well. The Packers just trying to get that seeding up as much as possible. I'm not sure, but if the Packers win out and the Vikings lose out, there might be a chance the Packers can get the 5 seed and the Vikings fall to the 6 seed. The Vikings do play the Lions next week, so it's not out of the realm of the possibilities that if the Packers win this game, they can jump up their seeding. I actually do think the Packers win this game. I think the Vikings are not as good as their record entails. I mean, with Sam Darnold at quarterback, I know they're 13-2. I know he's been doing it for 15 games. I feel like I've been hating on the Vikings all season. I mean, when they started out, whatever it was, 6-0, 7-0, I was like, I kept picking them to lose just because I just couldn't see, them continuing to be undefeated, and yet here we are 15 weeks in the season. They're 13-2, one of the best records in the league. I understand the defense is very strong. The Packers' defense is very good as well. I mean, this is just two very good teams going head-to-head. Probably the game of the week, I would say. I think the Packers, though, are overall slightly better. I think Jordan Love is better than Sam Darnold. Maybe he's not played like it this year, but, I mean, I could argue he has. I think Josh Jacobs gets it going. I don't know. This one definitely could go either way. Two very good defenses, very good offenses. Just two of the best teams in the league. You could argue both these teams are top 5, definitely top 10. But I think the Packers are overall better. I think the Packers are being slept on a little bit. I think the Packers are one of the best teams in the league, and I think they are better than the Vikings. So I'm going to take them here. Next, we have the Sunday night game. The Atlanta Falcons go to Washington to take on the Commanders. The Commanders got a huge win last week against the Eagles, and I believe with one more win, they will clinch a playoff berth, taking up that last wild card spot because the Vikings and the Packers hold the ones ahead of them. I think the Commanders can still. There's a scenario where they get the 6 seed. There's also a scenario where they fall out of the playoffs completely. So, must-win game for them, obviously. I mean, maybe not as much as the Falcons, but they do get it at home. I mean, there's still a world where if they lose this week, they can win next week. And when you look at their schedule, it is doable. They play the Cowboys next week, who aren't really playing for anything. With the Falcons, they're in a neck-and-neck race here for the NFC South, and it's looking like that division is only going to get one team in this year, both at 8-7. So, huge game here for the Falcons, and with the Buccaneers playing the Panthers, you could argue the Falcons need this one more than the Commanders. I don't hate the Falcons pick here at all. I'm just going to trust Jaden Daniels a little bit more than Michael Penix. We've seen throughout the season what he can do, and, last week Penix, I mean, didn't look. I don't know. They were playing the Giants. I mean, there's not much you can take from this. Let's look at the stats here. He had 202 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So he didn't play, a crazy game. He didn't play a bad game, but it was his first NFL start, so I can't really gauge too much off of this. Now he'll be playing against a good team, so we'll see. But at this point, I'm just going to trust the Commanders and what I've seen throughout the whole season, and they get this one at home in prime time. How will Penix fare in his first prime time road game as well? I don't know. I think there's a lot of things lining up for a Commanders win here, so I'm going to take it. They're favored by 4.5. But again, don't hate the Falcons pick. Definitely a huge game for them as well. The Lions versus Niners. This would be a fun game if the Niners were actually good this year, like I thought. I mean, preseason I thought the Niners were the team I picked to win the Super Bowl. They're not even going to be in the playoffs. They've been eliminated from the playoffs. They're 6-9. Yeah, the Lions still trying to lock up that 1 seed in the NFC. I think this one goes to the Lions. The Niners have been injured all season. The Lions are actually dealing with a whole lot of injuries right now as well, but they're favored by 3.5, kind of lower than I expected. But I do still think the Lions get it done. They're just playing for so much more right now. But with that being said, that is going to do it for the Week 17 NFL game predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you go down there, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We do college basketball every Monday, college football every Tuesday, NFL every Wednesday, and NBA every Thursday. Again, I apologize for the weird schedule this week, but it will return back to normal here next week, hopefully. I get my wisdom teeth out tomorrow, so I think I should be fine by Monday to, get back into the swing of things. But ultimately, we will see. The college football second round playoff predictions, I'm not sure when I'm going to record that. I might release that tomorrow. There's also a world where I release it next Tuesday. I might record it before then. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. We'll see with that, but just know it will be coming out before the games are played, so that's really all you can worry about. No NBA video this week, unfortunately, with the schedule being all mixed up. But next week should be back to normal for the most part. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed, though. Subscribe, like, and yeah, I will see you guys. Again, not sure if it's going to be college football second round playoff picks next or college basketball Power 40 rankings. Make sure you turn on the noties. That'll ensure that you don't miss whenever I upload. Links in the description as always. X, Twitch, TikTok, Discord. Make sure you follow those, join those. But with all that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this one.